Thank you very much for joining me today on the podcast, Darragh. So, fresh off the IFBB Pro win last weekend. So, tell me, how are you feeling after, I guess, like a bit of a comeback on the day itself? Because you did not win the overall
Yes.
in the regional, and then you end up taking the overall in the Pro qualifier.
Yeah, there was a very, very satisfying feeling towards the end of the day there. It was definitely a redemption. And I think that made it even sweeter. And like, look, this is absolutely nothing against Jim Morrissey or to take away from him or him as a bodybuilder or anything like that, because myself and Jim are good friends, right? And the second he got off stage and he won that regional, I went up to him straight away, I hugged him, I was like, mate, congratulations, like, I'm happy for you. And the second we got off stage in the pro qualifier in the even time, Jim tapped me on the back and he was like, congratulations, I'm happy for you. You better fucking win the pro card now. You know what I mean? So like, we had that sportsmanship there, but then at the same time, we're very competitive people. And I don't think Jim should have beaten me in the slightest. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, he's probably going to have different opinions on that as well. He's probably going to back himself and said, yeah, no, I think I did take him in that regional or whatever. But yeah, I was a little bit, it's going to sound arrogant, but I was a little bit stunned that I lost that regional overall. And honestly, I was kind of like, what the fuck just happened there? And I had people messaging me left, right, and center. I had people coming up to me, which didn't make it any easier either. Being like, oh, I should have won that, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, that's bodybuilding. Sometimes the decision doesn't go your way. Now, the judge who was judging the regional, you know, she wasn't the judge who was judging the whole thing last year. Let's say Tamer was judging the regional and the pro qualifier last year. And obviously Tamer was who gave me the overall last year, right? Now, you know, different competition this year, of course, different competitors this year, of course. But yeah, it was a pretty quick overall in the regional as well. It was pretty quick overall. Didn't do too many rounds and stuff. So it was like, the one just had her mind made up that like, maybe she didn't like my physique or something like that, which was proven in the evening time as well, which I'll kind of go over now. So yeah, I was a bit bitter after losing that regional, and I was a bit confused. But I watched some footage back, and you know, a couple of people had a couple of conversations with me and stuff, like people that I respect, saying that like, look, that decision shouldn't have gone that way, whatever, get your head screwed back on. And I did have a bit of a sulk for about an hour or two, and then I was like, right, I need to just come back. I need to get my head in the zone. When I got backstage, I put these AirPods in and I listened to some music. I did have a lot of people trying to come up and talk to me, and I was like, look, I just leave me alone, like, you know, just I need to lock in here. And Chloe was amazingly supportive as well. Like, she was texting me, she was just like, lock the fuck in, go out, battle for it, fight for it. You know, it's not over to the fat ladies and sort of thing. Yeah, there was a lot of like, there was a lot of mental gymnastics going on for me to get focused and get locked in and get in the zone. But when I did go out on stage, like, I was like, right, I'm going to fucking own it here. And just as well, I went out with that kind of, I suppose, grit, because we did like 5 rounds in the pro qualifier class. And I came out and I was one from the center, and Jim was to the left of me, right? We came out, we did a round or two, and the same judge who was there in the morning time, she moved me out to the very edge, okay?
Yeah.
Moved me out to the very edge. I was thinking, fuck me, am I in like 5th place here? We did another round. And after we did that round, Tamer was there, thankfully, in the evening time. I seen him get up from the end of the table, literally get up from the end of the table. He walked over, he sat beside her, and he was looking straight up at me, and I could see him pointing. And I was like, that was very distracting, because obviously I was trying to focus on hitting my poses and stuff. But I was thinking in my head, fucking yes, here we go, right? Here we go. So they moved me in one, and they moved Jim out, right, to the other side, I think, beside the guy who was in first. And then they moved me in one, right? And then they did another round. And then they moved me in one again. And then they did another round or two. And I ended in the center. And I was thinking, what the fuck just happened there? Do you know what I mean? I'm like, is it what I think just happened? And it did. And they brought us to the side of the stage. They were announcing the top 5. And like, when they announced second place, like, and I realized I got first place, I swear to fuck, mate, if you watch my YouTube video back, she announces my name, and I'm just like, I couldn't even walk up, because I thought I was going to burst out into tears. Like that class win felt like the pro card win. That actually felt better than the pro card win. Like that moment. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Because I almost knew, I knew in my mind, like I knew in my mind, and I knew like deep in my heart, as woo as that sounds, because they'd given me that, it's like I knew I was going to win the pro card. You get me? I was like, I have to win it now. Like Tamer came up and they essentially moved me from the outside, and he moved me from like fourth place into fucking first, because obviously he was like, this guy's physique, this guy's structure. I got some feedback. I was on the phone with Brian Bullman actually last week. I got some feedback from him from Tamer, which was actually very, very positive, which I was quite pleased with. I'm just on like me, my physique, and kind of my actually potential as I move forward. And I was quite surprised by that, because for me, I'm like, turning pro is it. I'm like, I'm not really going to like do anything from there sort of thing. But after hearing some of that feedback, it's maybe shifted my perspective on it a little bit. So yeah, it was redemption, mate. It was redemption. You know what I mean? So I was quite pleased with that. For it to happen the way it happened, it was nuts, bro.
Yeah, I guess like keeping the head in the game is very important in a situation like that, where you're essentially having like an AM show and a night show, like what you're gonna have to get used to with the pro leagues now, I guess.
100%. And look, like what ruins more people's looks than anything else is stress. And who's the biggest stress head ever? Only me. So like, I did get back, I did stress out, I did whatever, but then I had to like relax myself. I had to eat a meal, I had to sip the water, I had to get my mind fucking right, so that like I didn't go out and I didn't shit the bed. You know what I mean? And trust me, bro, like by the time they did that last round, obviously I have pictures of professional stage shots. By the time we got to that last round, the vacuum wasn't vacuuming anymore, because we were fucking gassed up there. You know, even my mom said to me afterwards, she was like, that was like really cruel what they made you do. They were like, you were doing like so many rounds. It's like, that's just what it is, man. You know, like if they're trying to decide and it's close, you just got to go and go and go and go. So, you know, thankfully I'd been doing my fucking, my core work and my endurance a little bit better this year than I had the previous year. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess like, look, that's what you pay the entry fee for as well, right? Like you would want this scenario where, especially if you're winning your card, it to be one where you're actually being posed round after round, being properly compared, because then you can walk away and say that like, yeah, they didn't just give me like a token win, right? Like I actually had to work for it. And as well, look, you know how much those shows cost. They cost a pretty penny between the federation fee, the entry fee. Do you have a videographer with you, or was
No,
Chloe
not for this.
Yeah,
Not for this
like
show, no.
Emma paid for Gaz Davies last year to get a media pass, and it was something like 500 quid for him to just go backstage, and a coach pass as well was another €400 or something like that. So, you know, you kind of would want your show to go on as long as possible.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy. It's gone crazy money as well, and that's why like I'm so buzzing like I'm over here in Alicante now, because like I'm over here for 18 days, bro. Like, because I had booked my flights for the day after the Impro, because I was going to do the Impro and then I was going to watch the Pro show and then I was going to go home, right? And like having to register late for the amateur role, which was what I was going to have to do because I had to see how I get on for Ireland, and then just having to like do the Impro as well, and just like everything, I was like, it was just such a cost. Like I'd probably pay for my holiday this week just with not being able, and I was going to bring a videographer over here, just not having to do all of those things to save me a massive amount of money as well. And like, look, it's not even about the money too, bro. It's just like about like even after this show, like I'd done 3 back-to-back shows, and like mentally, I didn't even know if I had it in me. I would have definitely done this show this weekend, but it would have been really, really fucking tough, because I would have been knowing what sort of a class I would have been going into. I would have been 20, 25 guys deep and whatever. And for me, in my mind, I kind of thought all year, I was like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen at home. It's going to happen in Ireland. You know, I was like, that's the show that I like won the regional at last year. I was close to the pro qualifier. I was like, this is going to be my show. You know what I mean? Like I kind of felt like the stars were aligning for this show all year. I was like, if it happens, it's going to happen there, sort of. And thankfully it did. And it's been like the absolute dream outcome. But yeah, it was fucking, the thoughts of coming and doing this show afterwards, I would have had to screw the head back on big time then again after that, you know?
Yeah, because there's always that like little bit of come down after you do any show, like regardless of like the outcome, like where you win or lose, like if you have another one planned, you just have to kind of get back into your posing rounds, have to get back into the plan for another peak week. Like, you know, there's no like celebration after the show. It's just like back to the job. And I guess like one thing I picked up from like listening to your podcast and your YouTube is like, it sounds like this prep, like definitely in the last few weeks, seems like it was relatively lower in stress, or you're definitely better at managing your stress relative to previous preps. So what do you think was the...
It's funny, mate, right? it's funny because it seems that way on the outside looking in, and a couple of people have commented on me about like how easy it looked, this prep.
Yeah.
But I think it's a weird one, right? Because in terms of my process, in terms of actually prepping, in terms of showing up and just like doing the work, whatever, it was very easy. But I think like I've been bodybuilding for so long now, I'm just conditioned to bodybuilding. Like it's nearly harder for me to not do it than to do it. Like even going through these back-to-back shows, doing the show, right? Getting straight back onto plan afterwards. It felt like nothing. It just felt easy. It's not like, oh, I can't have an off-plan meal. Oh, it's such a struggle. Oh, I have to get back into it. It was just like another day. It was just like complete robot, autopilot mode. Like it's very, very autopilot for me to do what I need to do now. It would nearly be harder for me not to do it, right? And like that's not like a brag. It's just like it's just a weird thing, you know. So it was very easy for me to prep this year from a process perspective, but mentally, mate, I was going through it. It might look like I was holding it together. I was very low stress. I was not. I was extremely high stress. And I'm not going to lie, mate. I didn't really enjoy this prep that much. Obviously, in the end, I ended up enjoying it. But I spoke privately with Mike and Mark about a lot of this stuff, and I spoke obviously to my partner Chloe about this. But like, you know, like I was fucking even towards the end, like seriously questioning things. I was like, if I don't turn pro here, is like this going to be the end of like bodybuilding for me? Because I'm 30 now soon, mate. I'm 30 next month. And, you know, I want to do other things with my life. Me and Chloe want to, you know, do a little bit of traveling before we settle down and have kids in 2 or 3 years time, you know? So it's kind of like, I'm big on timelines. I'm big on planning things. I probably plan my life out a little bit too much in advance. And I'm kind of like, right, I've been living in a fucking box for 5 or 6 years. I've dedicated my whole entire life to doing something. Like, you know, I'm not just saying this, mate, but like, I know I don't miss more than everyone else. I know like how on it I have been. And to do that for such a long time, it really takes a lot, mate. And you do eventually get burnt out. And yeah, I'm Mr. Hardcore, but fuck me, I'm human as well, you know? So there's only so long you can do something at a certain level and a certain intensity at. And it's all well and good when you're 24, 25 and all, you're like gung-ho, you're like, yeah, I'm going to turn pro, this is my goal, whatever. But like over time, you kind of like, fucking, you know, you grow up, you mature, you want to do other things, life moves on around you, your friends are getting married, your friends are having kids, you start thinking all these thoughts, right, what's in the future, etc., etc. So a lot of that stuff had been going through my head and my mind, and it was kind of pulling me away and distracting me from bodybuilding a little bit. And thankfully, I've been doing it so long, like I said, the process was just autopilot for me.
Yeah.
It was easy for me to do that, but mentally I was distracted. Mentally, I wasn't focused on the goal as much as I was over the last couple of years, you know? So I was kind of thinking like, fuck, if this doesn't happen, is this going to be it? Am I going to pull away from bodybuilding? Because I thought, you know, I'm not going to be able to live in Rotherham in a box 100% committed to bodybuilding because I burn out. Because even last year, my post-prep last year, the burnout started to come on me a little bit. And I really just pushed myself through this off season, and I really just pushed myself through this prep out of pure grit and discipline to just fucking get the job done and like keep that promise that I made to myself. But I knew regardless of the outcome this year, turn pro, don't turn pro, right? I'm going to have to find a different way to bodybuild because I won't enjoy it anymore and I won't have longevity in the sport because I started to not enjoy it, you know? Started to like not enjoy the training, started to not enjoy the process, started to almost gain a slight little bit of resentment for it in a way. Do you know what I mean? So I knew I wouldn't be able to kind of continue on the way I was going on, or I was just going to go insane. So because of that, I was putting a lot of pressure and a lot of expectation on myself to achieve this goal. But this year, like the stress was coming, you know, not from the process, but from like the pressure, the expectation. And obviously as well, mate, like obviously I put myself under a lot of pressure. I hold myself to a high standard. So last year, I won the regional overall. I came third in the pro qualifier. The guy who won that class turned pro 2 weeks later. So I was like, next step up for me is to turn pro. Like that's like, I've earned the right to say that. You know, you have a lot of guys that do one show, they're like, I want to turn pro. Like I didn't utter the word pro out of my mouth until last year. And I was getting comments, mate. I've saved the receipts. I have a couple of comments on YouTube videos. People like, you're going to get smoked. Oh, this is a joke. This guy thinks he's going to turn pro, etc., right? I've saved all those comments, so I'll make a little funny. I'll make a little funny post on that at some stage, right? You're always going to get haters. But exactly, bro. Exactly, right? So you're always going to get those haters. Yeah. So like I had that pressure that I put on myself and that expectation that I put on myself, but then I had a lot of external pressure as well because like everyone was expecting me to turn pro. Like everybody in Ireland, at least, was expecting me to turn pro. Like I had people who even, obviously, like you've guys like young kids and they're in their DMs and like, oh, pro card
Yeah.
next baby. Like this person doesn't have a clue about bodybuilding. Like I had a lot of people who knew bodybuilding, who like, I did appreciate their opinion and stuff, but it's hard when people tell me, be like, yeah, you're going to turn pro this year. And you're like, fuck. It's like it's hard because like if you don't, you're like on a failure. Yeah, that's what everyone thinks. So like I was kind of like the favorite going into that show, and I was like I had to live up to that. I was like, I knew that as well. Did you get me? And especially then after the 2 weeks I had beforehand, where I done pretty well, right? I won my PCA Pro card, and then I did the Universe, and I got a decent place in there. I didn't really agree with that placing, but look, we'll just forget about that now. And yeah, like I had that pressure,
Yeah.
So
I
it was
think
a lot.
I think with the external pressure that you can get from bodybuilding, it's a very odd one because obviously so much of like the comments you'll get are from people who may see on Instagram or people see you in the gym, and because it is a subjective sport, right? There, unless you see people up on stage beside each other, there's no way to really say you are better than that person, right? Because we all could look fantastic in our check-in shots and the ideal lighting, and it's one thing I think they do like okay in powerlifting, like before a competition, like you get the flight list comes out and you'll see the list of competitors, so you can have a bit of like I guess you can create your own expectations coming into the competition based off who's going to be
You,
there.
you you know what's going to happen because like I mean
Yeah,
strength doesn't change too much in the
yeah,
space of like fucking
for sure. But like then like I guess like you could be coming into a competition with a big kind of ego on you, and you're like, oh, like everybody at the gym's been telling me you're gonna do great, like I know that I want to win, and then some random black dude who doesn't have Instagram turns up and absolutely smokes you. So that's like
exactly
the
what happened.
harsh truth about bodybuilding.
Exactly what happened at the Universe. And your man Momo Physique, who showed up, he was an IFBB pro. He actually bet Joe Richardson for his pro card 2 years ago, and I watched that fucking live stream. And because I remember, I was like, where do I recognize this dude from? And then Jake Watts said it to me. Jake was like, the second I seen him do that backflip, I knew who he was straight away. I was like, yeah, the fucking
Yeah,
backflip.
Italian dude,
So
isn't
he
he?
showed up, and like, I would have came third to Lewis and Kez in that scenario, and I would have walked away with a fucking grand. So he showed up and he robbed me, the fucker. But that's bodybuilding again. And after that, I was kind of mixed feelings, mixed emotions after that Universe show because we did not get compared at all.
Mm,
They ran us on and off the stage. Lewis was giving out about it on a podcast as well on social media. There was a lot of people actually giving out about how quickly it was ran. There was something like 350 competitors on the day. So there was an
yeah,
average of 10 competitors per class. It was fucking insane. It was a wild show. I thought I was going to be on stage at 12:30. I was on stage at 3:30. So my look wasn't the best for that show as it was anyway. I was a little bit softer through the glutes and stuff like that than I was at the PC Ireland, which funnily enough, I thought was my best look of the whole entire year because I was 100 kilos full and fucking conditioned. So look, at least I have a little bit more room in my weight cap now. But yeah, I thought I didn't really get the looking that I should have there at that show. But it is what it is.
yeah. I guess that's the downside of when they are putting on these, especially maybe 1 day shows, and they have so many athletes. Like they need to be spread across 2 days. Like with the
Yeah,
amount of federation, or sorry, with the amount of divisions they may have, it just doesn't make sense for the athlete. Of course, they have to have the extra bit of like volunteers and staff to run 2 days, but if you're paying a pretty penny to enter into the competition and you're putting in all the work to get there, because some people would have that PCA Universe to be their their main show of the year. They might not be
yeah,
doing the two
and that
bros.
was Lewis's argument as well. Lewis said, like, well, thank God I didn't have it because if that was my only show of the season that I'd worked so hard for, I'd be absolutely disgusted. I'd be sick of it.
Yeah,
They need to just move that to a 2 day show where they have the section A in the first day, the section B in the second day, and just remove that qualifier that they have on the Saturday. It needs to be Saturday, Sunday, PCA Universe only weekend. That's what they need to do. And to be honest, I think based off the feedback this year, I think they will do that next year because one thing I will say about the PCA and give them their props for, they are much more in tune with what the athletes want than
yeah,
other federations in the UK. Let's just say that, right? So, well, I can say what I fucking want now because I don't have to compete with the two bros. So, fuck them.
yeah. Well, like man, even down to the promotion, like that's one thing that I found crazy about like the the muscle contest like last weekend, like I had to search through people's Instagram stories to find out who was like doing well, right? Like even after the
Mhm.
day after the competition, the main posts they had on their page were like maybe kind of collaborated posts from people
I've,
who
I've, I've,
maybe
yeah, I've
just bought the
gotten this
registration
comment.
card.
I've gotten this comment as well, and the show was much smaller this year across all classes than it was last year, which I was surprised with. I thought it was going to be way bigger, right? So yeah, they don't do the best job at promoting it. I think I might help them out with that in the future because, like I said, I was on the phone to Brian there recently as well, and I was just saying, look, if there's anything I can kind of do on my end to help you out moving forward with the muscle contest, I'm more than happy to do so. Because I think for me, it's huge for me to it's a like I really want to fly the flag for Irish bodybuilding. I really want to promote Irish bodybuilding. I really want to grow Irish bodybuilding. And that's why as well I'm very happy that I now have that IFBB Pro status because I feel like it almost enables me to do that a little bit more at a higher level than I'm already trying to do it at. Like it's a big reason why I wanted to start that podcast as well and get, Mike and Mark on. And we've gotten good, really positive feedback on that. And, I am big on that as well because even though I do live in the UK and whatever, it's like I'm a fucking patriot, like you know what I mean. Like I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
being Irish, and I'm very, very proud to be Irish. And yeah, the Irish bodybuilding scene, it's not the best compared to other places. It's definitely after getting a lot better. Like even since I left Ireland, because I was like, fuck this Irish bodybuilding scene is shit. It's gotten a lot better. It has gotten a lot better, right? And will continue to get better, but it still needs a lot of work. And Ireland in general for bodybuilding needs a lot of work. We need better gyms. We need a better outlook on bodybuilding and for it not to be as looked down upon as it actually is, because in the UK, it's like, it's more accepted. It just is
yeah,
more accepted, just less taboo. It's just like people think it's a good thing for the most part, In Ireland, I feel like because of GA culture and different things like that, there's still a negative connotation towards it. So I am absolutely gung-ho to change that over the next 10, 15, 20 years. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm going to try and help them out with the promotion because obviously for me, I'm like pretty on it with the social media content. So I'll probably say it straight to Brian next year, mate. Your page is fucking wanking. Needs help,
yeah. Man,
Yeah.
sure. Like even like from when I started to like properly getting interested in bodybuilding, which was kind of in line with my first, the only season I've done in 2022. Like it has grown like a lot. Like you can even see it within the national federations. Like they're putting more effort into doing the promotion, and I guess that is partly off the back of like having people like myself maybe kind of critique them and seeing that there is a lot of potential to grow, and like you see how like AJ's doing that with like the NBW over there, or
Age
like
is killing it.
even how the PCA do it with like their UK competitions and how on it they are with like giving everybody like a show day video, every single
Yeah.
person, and that's just one way
That's why
for
that's why people want to do the
massive
PCA.
sport. Sorry.
That's why people want to do the PCA.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
PCA is even when I started competing in 2020, PCA was more popular than two bros. Now it's way more popular than the two bros, and you got a really good caliber of athletes there doing it. And even in the pro leagues, the way they're giving out the prize money and stuff, I think it's fucking fantastic. You know what I mean? It's really, really hard in the NPC to fucking make it. And like even when you do turn pro now, it's like even to get into the prize money is extremely hard there. So the fact that like PCA, the fact that I nearly won the fucking grand this year in PCA is nuts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like $2.5 grand for classic first place prize money. Like that's fucking serious. That's no joke. And even NABA now are giving out $1 grand for their overall winners. It's like, but they have to compete, don't they?
Yeah.
They have to do something a little bit different. But yeah, no, to be fair to the PCA, I do rate them. I think they're doing a fantastic job. They are more athlete focused and they know what they're doing social media wise, mate. Like, do you even see what they do? They do it the whole time, right? So they'll post some big fucking fat cunt who's not gotten in shape,
Oh
right?
yes. Yeah.
And then they leave it for like 28, 40, 48 hours
Yeah, with
and
the
then
comments
leave
on.
all the people comment, all the engagement come up, all the eyes come onto the page, everyone will be sharing it, everyone will be going mad. And then they disable the comments and they put up their little fucking virtue signaling story being like, please be respectful to all athletes, whatever. It's like, if you really thought that, you would have disabled the comments immediately, but you
Yeah. Yeah.
left it fucking churning for the algorithm and then you cut it off. So they're very clever. They know exactly what they're doing. They do it every single fucking show. And I've always noticed that. I've always copped it out.
Yeah.
So,
Kings of rage bait in the fucking bodybuilding community. Um,
100%.
so like one thing you're kind of mentioned there was, I guess, like trying to become more of a role model for young bodybuilders in Ireland, and I guess to touch on something that we probably touch the surface of, but I want to get into a little bit deeper, is the change that you're going to have in regards to your approach with bodybuilding. So I guess like across like the last 5 to 6 years, as I said, you've been pretty like just dialed in, 100% focused on just this being the goal. But now maybe with a shift towards the pro ranks, you're kind of like at the bottom of the barrel again. But now is a great time to, I guess, kind of reassess, I guess, your relationship with the process. So I guess like, what do you think that kind of looks like for you? Like, have you thought about like what are the areas which you need to kind of take a step back from and maybe breathe a little bit more?
So you know what, Shane, right? I'll come at this from a couple of different perspectives, right? And like it's not that I'm like stepping away from bodybuilding or
Yeah,
I'm taking a break or anything like that, right? It's just that I need to do things a little bit differently. And there's a lot of things that have thank you, Flo. That's meal number one. There's a lot of things that have like changed my perspective quite a lot over the last while. Obviously, a lot of my own like kind of personal plans moving forward. I know if I'm, traveling the world, I'm going seeing a couple of different places, etc. I'm not going to be able to be as routine as I am right now because like my routine, mate, is fucking autistic. It's dialed in, right? It's 100% or nothing, and I'm a pretty 100% or nothing sort of a guy. But like I said, you can only do that for so long without getting burnt out, right? So I need to find a way to be. It sounds bad saying 95%. But to me, it's 95% because anything else that isn't what I'm doing right now won't feel the same. It won't feel like I'm 100% dialed in. But here's the thing, right? And I think even hopping on board the engineer team has been a massive eye opener to me because there's some incredible athletes on the engineer team. Like nuts. Like, bro, I'm bottom of the barrel on that fucking team. You know what I mean? Like some of the guys are just fucking insane. All right. And they do things so differently. Like, diet wise, flexibility wise, how they approach their off seasons and off plan meals, how they approach their preps, how they approach their drugs, how they just approach everything. Everyone does things so differently. Like people train so differently, they're still all out mega. And like with bodybuilding, there is many different ways to skin a cat, and there's loads of different ways to doing it correctly. And I feel like for me, I'm 100% or nothing sort of guy. I like to be locked in. I like to be 100%. I'm a perfectionist naturally by nature. And that has allowed me to get to where I am now and make the progress that I've made right now. But I don't think it's sustainable for me in the long term. So I need to just have a little bit more flexibility, have a little bit more balance. And that will see me through for the next 5 years. Please God. You know what I mean? So like, I think for me, like, it's just about like trying to take some of the pressure off being perfect. Do you know what I mean? Like even like yesterday, mate, like came over to Alicante, right? Had my normal meal 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I subbed out my last 2 meals. I had a fucking paella. I woke up bang on the exact same weight this morning, right? So like previous me would have just been stressing out over that. It's been a shit day. It's not been perfect. It's been this. It's been that. It's been whatever. But like because I haven't stressed about it, it's like my physique hasn't disappeared in a day. I had a paella, which is just seafood and rice. I've woken up the exact same weight. And because I'm stress free now, am I going to go to the gym and have a fantastic session today? Probably. But if I stressed myself out over having that off-plan meal yesterday, would that have actually taken away from my process more? And I think that's what I'm starting to realize. I think I've been so focused on being perfect all the time that it causes me more stress than anything. Because now that I've competed and I've prepped multiple times, for the type of person I am, I've realized keeping stress low for me is absolute baseline. I had this conversation with Kuba. I told him my plans. I told him I'm going to travel and whatever. And he actually thinks it's great because he thinks for me, I've outgrown my current environment. I've outgrown my current process. And for me, like I said, everything is autopilot, mate. It's easier for me to just bodybuild. It's easy for me to eat prepped meals. It's easy for me to prep. It's easy for me to adapt to different environments now because I've done it so often. So it's not like I needed to be more dialed in like I did when I was 24, 25. I'm already dialed in. Now I need to just make small tweaks, So it's like I just need to go take the pressure off myself to be perfect, allow myself to be more adaptable to certain things, and just enjoy things a little bit more. And even for me, I think my training probably has to change. I probably have to like just have a little bit more fun with it, because I'm guilty of sacrificing by choice, sacrificing enjoyment for what needs to be done for the goal. Like I don't enjoy my training that much for the most part, right? Like there's lots of things in my training I don't enjoy, but it is necessary for me to make the progress I've made, bring up the weak areas that I needed to bring up, and recover in the way that I need to recover for my physique and all that. Like, me and Kuba have dialed in my training. That's fucking perfect for me on paper. Do I enjoy it as much as if I was just fucking about doing what I wanted to do myself? No. And that has helped me to turn pro. But is that going to help me to enjoy bodybuilding for 5 years? No. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like, last 5 years, I've been in a box, I've been in 100%, I've sacrificed a lot of things for life. I've sacrificed a lot of enjoyment in certain areas. I'm willing to give up way more enjoyment than other people for the goal. You know, I'm willing to suffer more. People, and there's so many guys I coach, can we sub out this exercise or this because whatever. I'm thinking, fucking, what is wrong with all you people? And I'll still preach. You have to do exercises you enjoy. And look, there is one or two exercises that I have to have in there for enjoyment, but I don't ask for much. I could have a session, mate, where I enjoy one exercise and the rest of them I'm like, I'd rather this session looked a little bit different. I don't give a fuck. I just do it anyway because I know it's what I need to do to progress. You know what I mean?
You know, I do think it kind of makes sense that things have been probably so like pressure driven, and you know, as I wouldn't say, I guess you could say neurotic, right? You've probably been very neurotic across like the last
100%.
2-3 years, but it's with good reason, right? You've done back-to-back preps. You did 25, you did 26, and I'd say coming into 25, you probably, I know you mentioned that you didn't say pro card to anybody, but I think anybody who does compete, you're always kind of having that in the back of your mind. And because you are striving towards that, it's only natural that you'd want to be that little bit more dialed in across everything, because like every action that I do, it's going to either move me closer or it's going to have me staying in the same spot. So like doing that across 25 and then essentially repeating that into 2026, you know, you don't give yourself any room there to have anything there which you could consider to be like, you know, enjoyment, or if you take your foot off the gas and, you know, the outcome didn't go the way you wanted to last weekend, you'd be thinking about that event and you'd be like, that's why, you know. But I guess now, like, obviously with the, you know, again, starting at the bottom of the barrel, you know, you are pro now, so now you're competing against the really, really good guys, like the top 1%, the top 0.1% in the world. And, you know, then seeing other pros and how they're kind of doing their process and, you know, how relaxed they can be. You know, having now a period where you're essentially like off season, you don't have to prep for a long period of time, is like the perfect opportunity to be able to say, all right, well, you're not thinking about like what you can get away with, but you're just like, the things that stress me out the most, how much of that do I need to pay like 100% attention to, and how much of it can I just like, you know, give myself a little bit of breathing room with, you know?
And here's my perspective now as well, Shane, right? It's like, I'm not one of these guys who wants to look back in my life and think, what if? Because it's been very intense. It's taken a lot, like I said, on many different levels, mentally, physically, enjoyment-wise, for me to achieve this goal. But I have achieved it. I've done the fucking necessary to do that, right? And I didn't ever want to look back and think, what if? You know, what if I didn't take the foot off the gas just for those couple of weeks? What if I fucked around that off season, etc., etc.? And I knew, like, with my genetics and with whatever else, that like I was going to have to do everything possible to maximize my physique to turn pro. And I feel like I put in that work, I made those sacrifices, I've done it, I've turned pro. But then you need to ask yourself the question, what have I done all this for? All this sacrifice, all this effort, all this discipline, I've achieved this lifelong goal. But now you need to fucking enjoy it, right? So not only now can I enjoy bodybuilding a little bit more, I feel like I can enjoy life a little bit more. I can feel like I can enjoy, you know, my process a little bit more. I can actually now go back to maybe experimenting with my training and having fun with things and finding that joy and that passion that got me into bodybuilding and wanting to turn pro in the first place, which is fucking training, which is what we all love, right? And my perspective from here now is, I'm a pro. No one can ever take that away from me, especially in the fashion that I've done it. I had to fucking work for it. I had to battle for it. Even in the overall, I won by 1 point. You know what I mean? So like, it wasn't a fucking easy run. And everything from here for me is a bonus, right? My goal was never to make it to the Olympia. My goal was never even to turn top 6 in a pro show. My goal was to turn pro. I've done that. And it's not that like, tick, I've completed bodybuilding now. I'm retired. I'm going to fucking go off into the distance. But it's just like, I don't feel that pressure and expectation, right? You mentioned my last prep last year, right? That was the best prep I ever had in my life. That was the funnest, most enjoyable prep I'd ever had. And in the lead up to the end of that prep, the Scotland show and the Ireland show last year, I had never enjoyed bodybuilding more in my entire life than I had then, right? That was just the best time ever. When I look back at my bodybuilding journey, I'm like, fuck, that was like the little golden period, right? And the reason for that being was that I was going into that season knowing I hadn't filled out my weight cap yet, and I'd made good progress, but how much progress had I actually made? Because I looked like fucking wank in 2023. It looked like shit, right? And I was like, am I even going to be any good? And I was like, I'm competing this year just to go through the process, just to prep, just to pull the body fat down so I can push back up again. And then I ended up exceeding my expectations massively that year. So that was why that prep was so good, because I was like, oh, fuck, I look way better than I thought I look. Oh, my God, I fucking did really well. Oh, I won my first overall. I wasn't even expecting it. You know what I mean? I didn't even know if I'd get a class win that year. Genuinely didn't even know if I'd get a class win that year. And then, you know, I did so well. And then it's like, oh, fuck, I'm much closer to my cap. Oh, God, I'm literally only like one push-up away from being where I need to be. And then it's like the pressure, the expectation, the back-to-back shows. And I really nailed my reverse last year. Didn't have a single thing off plan for like 6 weeks. And then I put myself under a lot of pressure to like be perfect, not eat fat off plan, dial in the process. I stayed too lean for too long. The food fucking noise went up too high. I was mentally all over the place. And then that started to take away from my enjoyment of the process as well. Me and fucking Kuba were arguing about a load of things back and forth. My head was scrambled, and I was just like, and it sucked the life and it sucked the fun out of it. But I was like, I'm just going to push through. This is it. This is the off season. Then you're going to go into prep, and it's like, just keep soldiering on. And now, like, winning that pro card, and I said this to the boys off air on the podcast last week. I was like, lads, done off. I'm going to be able to do Alicante. And then I was like, if I win this pro card, I don't even know am I going to be happy. I think I'm just going to be relieved. I was under such press. I was like, I don't even think I'm going to feel any joy. I think I'm just going to go, oh, thank God that's over. You know? And I'll be completely honest here. Like, I'll be completely raw and honest. Like, that's how I felt heading into that show. Thankfully, when I did actually win the pro card, I felt a lot of relief, but I did feel a lot of joy as well. So, you know, it was... hindsight is great when you look back, like when it's finally done and that pressure was lifted. Then I could allow myself to feel the joy. I could allow to bask myself in it, and I was like, oh fuck yes, hard work pays off. But when you're in it, mate, it's so hard to like see the wood for the trees. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, especially as you put it, like you are like living in a box. Like to you, that moment, that day, like that next meal, that next training session, like that's everything. You know, that's all there is in your world. But like, then you meet somebody from like the outside world, and they're like, "Oh, you still doing the bodybuilding, are you?" That's the thing where you put the weight over your head, is it?
Yeah, they go. You still.
Yeah.
I know, it's funny, isn't it?
Exactly. So like, it is kind of like nice once the go passes, and you're kind of able to like realize that there is like another side to life. And I guess you're gonna be able to experience that now, like while you're on holiday in Alicante. So I guess like even being there now, like, how much of your routine, as you can see, you're eating your meal number one, will you be keeping up, and like how will you allow yourself to like enjoy your kind of time over there? Just curious.
So here's the thing, mate. Like, you know, when I say like, oh, I'm going to find a different way to bodybuilding, and I'm going to be a little bit more flexible or whatever, right? Someone would probably look at me and spend a week with me and go, "You call this flexible?" Like, this is, I'm on this podcast, right? 7:30 is mealtime. Meal gets eaten. It just, do you know what I mean? It just is what it is. Like, I'm very dialed in with what I do. So how's it going to look? Not really too much different, mate. I think like more so, it's a mental thing rather than a physical thing. Like, physically, is that going to be different? Like, are the meals going to be that different? Are the timings going to be that different? Probably not, right? But mentally, it'll just be a little bit more relaxed. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I'll allow myself probably more off-plan meals here and there, or, you know, have a little bit more flexibility with that, or have a little bit more flexibility with my training, or even small, silly little things, mate. Like, if I just wake up and I'm like, you know what, fucking just don't feel like training today, I'll just not train. Do you know what I mean? I'll just allow myself to not do that. If I'm like, no, do you know what, I do feel a little bit smashed, or, you know what, like, fucking, I'm actually with family today and there's something going on, I'm like, I'm not going to bother training, I'm just going to spend time doing this. It's going to be little things like that I'm going to do, you know, and I'm going to allow myself to enjoy things a little bit more, because I'll still be 95% to me is still so much more dialed in than what I will be for loads of other people, you know? So yeah, whilst I'm over here, I'm still going to be probably having 4 meals a day, maybe. I normally have 5, but I might sub 2 out for an off-plan meal. I'll see, probably for breakfast, 1 in the morning. Today's a training day, so I just have my normal meals. Meal 1, pre-workout meal, train, post-workout meal, come back, just go to the beach. You know, I have limited work to do this week, just in terms of like client check-ins and messages and stuff. So just text everyone and said, look, I'm going to be enjoying a bit of downtime, which they've all understood, thankfully, most of them. So yeah, and I think, like I said, mate, like everything moving forward for me here is going to be a bonus. And I thought that, like, again, I did think a lot of things. I thought, yeah, once I win this pro card, it'd be a relief, and I can't really see myself pushing on from there. But it's like, then when you do win that pro card, you're like, all right, fuck, what's next? Can't wait to fill out this weight cap. I can't wait to see what my physique looks like with an extra 15 pounds. I can't wait to make my proper pro debut, because again, right, looking back at my 2023 season, what did I have? No expectations. And I never enjoyed bodybuilding more in my entire life. What do I now have moving forward forever? No expectations.
Really?
Unless I do my first pro show and I turn top 6, and then I start thinking, fuck, could I get to the Olympia? But that's never going to happen. Like, you know what I mean, right? Well, I'll never say never. I don't know how my physique looked like with 15 pounds, but I don't think so, mate. So for me, the dream was always turn pro, go to America and do the New York Pro just for the fucking crack, just to be on a New York Pro stage and get those photos to have on the fucking wall when I'm older. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, how sick, like, you know, like that for me is the dream. Traveling the world, bodybuilding, living the lifestyle, doing these shows, meeting other bodybuilders. Like, I'll be going to Titan Fitness Day, I'll be meeting people, I'll be talking to people, like other amateurs, other pros. Like, I just love that. I just thrive off that. And now I feel like I can enjoy that more, because I'm not just like this hungry amateur who wants to turn pro. Does that make sense? You know?
Yeah. So you have like your last five to 6 years, it's like kind of, it's paid off in getting exactly what you want. And I think, like, as much as, you know, you're kind of mentioning the pressure and the stress of everything that like kind of went into actually winning the card, I think it's, and like how like dialed in everything has been leading up to that. Like, I think it's one thing that a lot of people just don't really get, like, unless they set themselves like this like big hairy goal, you know, that like feeling of like waking up every single day and like knowing that like each thing that you're doing within your routine like has a purpose, you know, like even now, right, like you're on holiday and I was asking you there about like, how are you going to be flexible? Like, the way you've lived for like the last 5-6 years has created this routine that you will still live by until like you're fucking old and grey to a degree, but you'll just be able to kind of tweak and change it as like your goals in life, your life situation changes. And I think that's like what having those periods of being like almost a hermit and being really locked in does give people. Yeah, because like I know for myself, like, geez, before I got into, you know, even competing in powerlifting, like, I wouldn't say, like, I'd say my habits are all right, but they definitely weren't like, you know, I eat X amount of times per day, I eat this per day, I follow this macros, this is when I train, this is the time I do it. You know, I wouldn't have had that. And bodybuilding definitely did turn it up a notch, you know, but for the better though.
It's funny though, mate, right? Because like, I kind of, not that I always had these habits, right? But I always had the ability to be very obsessed, right? Like I never really say this. I hate fucking saying this, right? I don't even know if I said this publicly, but I've diagnosed ADHD, right? So like, because I hate the way everyone uses the whole ADHD card on Instagram and all that these days. But I diagnosed ADHD when I was like 7 or 8 years old. But I'm convinced I've got like really bad OCD as well, right? I was never diagnosed, like really bad OCD. Like when I'm ordering things and scheduling things and all that, like I've got very obsessive tendencies. So the second I started bodybuilding, the second I started bodybuilding, 3 days later, I was on a meal plan. 2 weeks in, I had a training split. Like, that's not when people first start going to the gym, like they don't. But I was like looking up teen bodybuilding workouts, trainings on bodybuilding.com, found a diet. This is a diet I'm sticking to. Training plan. This is it. This is what I'm doing. And I just rinsed and repeated that. And like, I put on 11 kg of muscle in my first 5.5 months in the gym. 11.5 kg of muscle. Well, it was 11.5 kg of weight, but let me tell you, bro, I wasn't that, like, I looked leaner because of the abs and the muscle and all that when you're that early on. Maybe the body composition was similar, but I just fucking exploded because straight away from the bat, it was just like food dialed, training dialed, 6 days a week, way too much volume, definitely not recovering enough, but just slamming it and young, and just recovery was good and I was just growing. And I wasn't drinking at that time because I was a year out from school, you know? And I'm a very routine person anyway, the perfectionist, like I said. And I know I'm going to be one of those bodybuilders forever, always, who's just going to be very structured and routine. It's like Ian Valier. You hear him on the podcast, right? Fuad's a fat piece of shit. He's always ordering Uber Eats and this and that, and he's super unhealthy. Ian Ian retired from bodybuilding. He had 2 or 3 weeks where he ate a couple of sandwiches, and then he was back eating 5 meals a day. But like, I'm going to be like that. I'm going to be like that because that's actually literally just what I enjoy. And I always said as well. I said it multiple times. Because people ask me about YouTube, do a calorie challenge, whatever, and I've watched tons of calorie challenges, mate, right? And I fancy myself a bit of an eater, like, you know. So I was always like, oh, I can't wait to do a calorie challenge. But I've been so obsessed with progress that I'm like, eating 10,000 calories is fucking dumb. It's going to take away from my bodybuilding. I'd have to adjust things for a couple of days. That's retarded. I'm not doing that. I'm not a fucking eater. I'm a bodybuilder, right? And I thought when I turn pro, I'd finally like have earned the right to do the 10,000 calorie challenge. I can do it and I can enjoy it. And then I had a couple of people DM me after the show being like, oh, is the calorie challenge coming, whatever. And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to do it. Like, I really don't want to do it. I just want to like make progress, nail my reverse and whatever. So that's like been a light bulb switch to me to just be like, you know what? I'm not that guy. You know, like yeah. I like being on plan. I like making progress. I like all of those things. You know, it's like flexibility to me is just fucking being able to enjoy a meal with my parents and fucking bring them out for dinner and pay for it. And that's the dream. You know what I mean? It's not like doing eating challenges. You know, you see a lot of other bodybuilders do that and they fucking fall off the map. You know?
Yeah, I think that the thought of doing those things is so much more enjoyable than probably actually doing it. Because man, I'm the exact same. Sometimes I'll like get a thought of like, oh, I'm getting a little bit bored of that third meal I'm having today. I might change it up for this, and then I guess it's time for the third meal. I have the exact same thing every single day. I'm like, this is fine. You just get so.
Did you see my story yesterday? No. Did you see my story yesterday? No?
Yeah. Seafood paella.
Got to Spain. First thing I eat, seafood paella. Rice and fish. Literally the same 2 meals I had before that. And I changed my diet post prep, cool up my food, right? And I changed my diet. And on my training day, and on my rest day, 3 of the meals are exactly the same. Prawns, mackerel, berries. They're exactly the same. And why did I do that? I like that meal, right? And post show for me, right? I actually don't want a ton of variety. I brought the eggs and sourdough back in. Amazing. I'll get that breakfast when I'm over here. I'll go out with my family one day. I'll get eggs, smashed avocado, sourdough. That's the only off-plan meal I ever need. I put that back into my plan. Now I feel like I'm eating off-plan every single day because I haven't had eggs in months and they taste amazing post-show. And I can actually digest them. So the period post-show for the first 2 months is the only time that I can enjoy eggs. Everything else like that, they don't digest well with me, right? So it's like, I don't feel like I need to go out and binge and get a full Irish breakfast and do whatever. Because I have something that I enjoy so much on my plan every single day. Because me and you, we like eating real food, right? And then aside of that, it's like, I know, right, I'm coming over to Alicante. Things are going to be a little bit unstructured. I'm going to be outside of my normal routine. So the last thing I need is 6 different meals every single day. I just need to be like, right, rice is on, prawns are on, job done. 10 mils of mackerel in each lunchbox. Prep for the day. Easy. And then that's why I'm able to stay in shape. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than looking for all that novelty, looking for all that change post-show, I just keep things the same. And for me, I don't like to introduce flexibility, right? Now, off-plan meals aside, I don't like to have much flexibility when I finish a diet at all. I like to keep things the same. I like to look at it as an extension of the diet, an extension of prep, because it just makes things more difficult. You know, I think the worst thing people can do when they finish a diet is be more flexible with their food or their nutrition or whatever. And for me, right now, it's easier for me to eat the same meals that I had on prep because it feels like I'm still on prep, but it feels like I have a high day because I just have more rice. Yeah. So you keep yourself in that prep zone. It makes adherence easier. And then when my calories are 500, 600 higher in 5-6 weeks time, then I'll change my meal plan and I'll add a different couple of meals in because at that stage, it'll be easier to adhere. Does that make sense? Right. And again, I've learned this through just previous preps, previous bad experiences, previous reverse diets. You know, like after a while, mate, like you just do what you know works for you for progress. But like all I care about is progress, mate, even now. Do you know what I mean? Even now that I have that pro cash.
I think that kind of point about like, you know, kind of sticking to the same foods, like even when you're doing the reverse. And this is something I definitely will notice if I give clients like refeeds or they're doing the, like, say, high days, or even, you know, obviously the most important part is like the week coming into a competition. Like you just want to keep with existing food sources that are not really going to stimulate like hunger too much, because like it's that novelty that just like makes you start thinking of everything else you could potentially have. And that's when all of a sudden your Instagram explore page is filled with food porn pages and now all you're thinking about is food every single day. You're looking up all the menus of restaurants that you go to. Like my prep in 2022 was so smooth. Like I kind of like yourself. Like it's just ate Groundhog Day every single day with food. Very little like flexibility in regards to like
Man,
food sources.
I remember looking at your story. I remember looking at your stories during that time, and I thought those meals look amazing. Why would anyone not want to eat like this? Because you were eating tons of micronutrients. You were having lovely salads and stuff. You had your rashers, like your turkey rashers, and your eggs and stuff in the morning. Like I remember your diet because I remember you used to post that, and I actually used to go, "That looks banging. He's eating real food." You know?
Oh yeah,
That's why you're in shape.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. It's like I think, as you're saying, you don't feel the need to like introduce too much flexibility right now because you enjoy what you eat, like, and like that's part of it. I think like so many people who get into bodybuilding, they get a meal plan that could just be made willy nilly from their coach, and they don't have any input to it, or they just assume, look, I need to suffer if I want to get this result. But it's like if you are fucking hating your meals every single day throughout like a 6 month process, like no wonder what you're going to be looking at menus for a few places for when the prep finishes, or wanting to add in X, Y, and Z. Like you're just making the process harder for yourself.
On the topic of food there, right? A lot of people think that bodybuilding creates unhealthy relationships with foods, creates eating disorders, whatever. And look, don't get me wrong, I've said this on record multiple times. Bodybuilding, competitive bodybuilding now, right? People have a disordered level of eating. Not eating disorders, but disordered eating is necessary to achieve your goals in bodybuilding. We all eat in a disordered way. Now, is that a bad thing? Right? Is it better than shoving your face with McDonald's every single day? I would argue you're also eating in a disordered way if you eat junk 24/7, right? So just choose the way you want to disordered eat. Do you want to be, obsessed with calories and macros and obsessed with eating the same meals, or do you want to just be a fat cunt? All right. So there's your choice there, right? But I don't think bodybuilding creates unhealthy relationships with food. I think if you do it long enough, it actually creates a massive appreciation for real foods. The amount of people that I've coached, right, who used to really struggle to stick to a diet, who used to eat garbage, who used to love getting their fucking Chinese takeaway or whatever, right? And they come on board with me, they diet, they're eating their food or whatever, and they come back and they give me their feedback. I'll change their meal plan. They go, "Oh, I can't believe you took like my pineapple away from me. I love that. I really look forward to that so much. Or, I can't believe you did this, or I can't believe you did that." Or, they'll finish a diet and I'll put eggs and sourdough back in the pan. They're like, "Oh my God, my eggs and sourdough I love it so much. It's my favorite meal of the day," right? And then they go and they get their Chinese takeaway with their partner, and they're texting me the next day going, "Oh, I fucking feel terrible after that Chinese. It's fucking disgusting. I'm never getting one again. I don't know how I used to enjoy that." Every fucking time, bro. Every time. Like, this is the evolution that people go through when they actually see the benefits of eating healthy for a long period of time. People don't realize how much eating shit makes them feel like shit. And I think if you're used to eating hyper palatable foods all the time, really salty, really sweet, really sugary, really whatever, right, really sickening, you've just grown so accustomed to that when you eat eggs and sourdough, you're like, "Oh, this just tastes normal. This just tastes plain." But then when you do it the other way around, and you're so used to eating good, clean, single ingredient whole foods all the time, right? Like, you taste them for what they are, right? And they're fucking delicious. And then you eat something hyper palatable, and it actually stimulates you too much, and you're like, "This is fucking disgusting." I don't know, do you get that feeling? But yeah.
Man, I've just something as simple as like eating a meal in a slightly different order. Like I remember, for a while I'd have like whey and cereal post workout, and like the cereal would have like a bit of honey on it, and then I'd have the cereal and I'd have the cereal and the honey first, and then I'd have the whey, and the whey, which is meant to be super sweet, tastes shy, because of just that difference in like kind of sweetness levels. And like I can see how it happens with like just the typical hyper palatable foods. It is training your palate to like want that level of food reward more often. And then when you have something like a fucking vegetable or chicken breast or like whatever it may be, you're just like, this is rotten. Why would anybody eat it? But it's because you get so accustomed to it. And yeah, I get the exact same, man. Like I had to go home there 2 weeks ago, and like got myself in a situation where I had absolutely zero meal prepped, and I was like, okay, what's the best option for me to get? Or I'll get some Thai food, and it was rotten. It was just like it just
there's nothing worse, man, than like saving some calories and going to have an off-plan meal, right? and then it's fucking disappointing. Oh, it's not
Yeah.
worse. And it's happened to me a few times. And that's why, if I go on and have an off-plan meal and I eat some sushi or I eat fucking something, and like I have people texting me like, oh, this is what you're having, this is your off-plan meal or whatever. I'm like, bro, if I went and had a fucking, like, I don't know, whatever, like a Five Guys, it's like, I just don't know if I'd enjoy it that much. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know, would I? After, again, bodybuilding for a long time, what makes you feel good and what doesn't. And digestion is a big thing for me, man. My gut is dodgy. So if I have something and I just fucking feel like shit after it, it's not worth it,
Yeah, for me, it's when things are like way too high in fat. Like not 9 times out of 10, an off-plan meal for me is some version of chicken and rice. It's just something I've had a realization on. It's either Jamaican jerk chicken and rice, jollof chicken, fucking chicken cashew nut and rice, just like chicken
Chicken
Donberry.
cashew nut slaps.
Yeah, chicken Donberry. Like it's just like all these variations of chicken and rice. I'm like, I'm not really straying too far from my usual. I'm like,
No.
very very predictable. One thing I guess like would be worthwhile to touch on would be, so obviously you have like some obsessive tendencies as you mentioned, and is that part of the reason why you like you quit alcohol like a number of years ago? Like I think you were maybe like 5 or 6 years without a drink, are you?
Five and a half years now at this stage. Yeah. It's definitely the reason. I think a couple of reasons, right? Like there is some level of alcoholism in my family, so I kind of knew there's like some people, man, addictive personalities, right? Like I'm one of those people. So like it was something that I could never. I'm a control freak, right? As you can probably tell. So like my daily routine, my schedule, even like I don't let anyone do anything else for me. Very little. Like, yeah, Chloe will do a meal for me sometimes as well, but like even things like that are very hard for me to let go. Like even Chloe putting the whey paste and I'm eating that and like it tastes different. You know what I mean? Because I haven't done it. So like I'm really, really bad like that. I like to do everything myself in my own way because I'm meticulous in everything that I do. And so I do have that like very, very obsessive, extreme kind of personality. And like that mixed with alcohol is just not good. And that mixed with recreational drugs is just that not good at times fucking too. And I just don't know when to stop me. And I always feel like I'm very in control of everything when I'm sober because I'm a control freak. I have like 3 drinks, mate. Inhibition's gone out the window. I just turned into a different person. It's the only thing that really just like, my friends used to always say to me as well, like, for such a smart guy. Because like when I was in university, mate, I was in UCC. All my friends were in CIT. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And I always did really well in my exams. They were always failing exams. So like, there was always like this weird divide. This was like, I was like the more successful, kind of smarter kind of a one. But then I would get fucked up and do dumber or more reckless shit than every single one of them. You know what I mean? Well, maybe not every single one of them. I had a pretty mad group of friends who probably didn't help the situation either because it normalized what we're all doing, right? But yeah, I just couldn't control myself, mate. Got myself in a lot of bad situations, ruined a lot of relationships, got myself in trouble, like with the guards a lot and all that other fucking sort of shit. And like, I just knew, especially when I left college and I started working a 9 to 5 and I was working as an accountant, again, with a couple of nights out that ended a little bit ropey. And I was like, I can't be fucking doing this. Or I'd go on a fucking bender and I'd be going into work on a Monday morning and I'd be going, fuck, I can't be fucking getting caught being like this. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, you have to cop on. And it was just series after series after series of just me doing dumb shit where I just finally woke up one morning and was like, that's it. I'm never drinking again. Funny, my barber already said it to me the other day because I came back and he's like, fuck, you're looking sick. And he knew I was going through the pro card the day after that. And he goes, I remember, how long is it going out? Is that like 6 years ago? He goes, and you sat down in that chair that morning. I went into him for a haircut after that night. Like last night I went drinking. And he goes, I remember you saying it to me and you were dead serious that was going to be the last time you're ever going drinking. And I told him this was what I was going to do. I told him this is what I was going to do. I told him this is what my goal was. And he's like, and you fucking done it. You know what I mean? So like, I had to channel that energy, Shane, into something positive.
Of course, yeah.
It's like, the way I've been 100% and I've been living in the box and I've been whatever. It's like, I used to be that extreme when I was out on the session, you know? So I'd be like, last guy gone home, 3 days later, I'm still going, I'm texting everyone, well, you coming back, you get a good sleep, come back, I'm fucking up in this hotel, I'm here, I'm there, or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, I had to give it up, man. For me, obviously the drink was like the gateway to everything else. But the drink was the worst thing of
Yeah.
all. Drink was the worst thing of all, I think. So yeah, I just knew I'd go fucking nowhere with my life basically if I kept drinking.
Mm.
And when I was on the way over here and I was on the plane and there was a stag do and there was a hen in front of me, I was just looking at these lads like touching 40 or even 40 with the speaker and the beers on the plane. I was just looking at them. And I was just going, each their own. But I was just like, I fucking hate to be living my life like that at that age,
Yeah.
So
It takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to like realize like the negative effect like something like that is having you, because like if that was like 6 years ago you would have been 24.
2024 last time I drank, yeah.
Yeah, so like
Yeah. I think
yeah.
I only drank 2 or 3 times when I was 24. Because
Yeah,
I did my first competition prep at 24. And in that calendar year, I think I drank like 8 times or something in 2019. I was going to do a year sober in 2019 and I didn't. And then in 2020, I said, no, in 2020, I was going to do a year sober and I didn't. And then in 2021, I said, right, I'll do a year sober. And I thought that would be a big accomplishment and that would like just get me out of the trouble that I was in at the
for
time.
sure.
And then I just kept going, mate. Then I just kept going.
Mm.
So
Yeah, like once I got into doing any type of compete, like I will drink from time to time, but I'd only ever do it for important occasions. Like I never have any desire anymore to just be like go down to like, even with myself and Emma go out for food, never be enticed to have like a beer, because I'm kind of
yeah,
like I kind of in a way like a lot of people, right? You have 1 or 2 beers and then you start to get some dark thoughts coming into your head. Somebody's
yeah.
getting
Right,
passed.
boys. Who's got a number?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like those things do start to come in your head, and like obviously like with the goals that like both ourselves are working towards, right? Like obviously you're working towards now being a good pro, but we're also self-employed business people. Like it's just
yeah.
there is no actual like benefit that really gives us from business perspective. No
Zero.
benefit it gives us from a body composition perspective. You know, so it is a tough one. I do think a lot of people would do well with going through like long periods of abstinence. Like I think when, geez, I was in my early 20s, I did do like maybe like 6 to maybe 10 months where it's just completely alcohol free, and that was like something I needed at the time because I was in a period of going out every single weekend. I was thinking about getting into powerlifting, but I was putting it all off a long finger because I wanted to go on a session with my mates. Once that kind of like even temptation to go out came up, I'd put it off. And I think just going through that period of absence, like this has allowed me to say no. Because I think for so many people who are looking to achieve their goals, it's being able to say no, being able to say no to the social situations like that, because they do pull you away so much. Like even if you
100%.
are able to develop like somewhat of a decent relationship with drinking, it's the 3 or 4 days after it, especially as you get to our age, the 3 or 4 days after it that pull you back. And you even do that every single month. You're missing out on like nearly the entire week of like potentially
You
moving
can't
closer to
do it
your
when
goal.
you can't do it when you have your own business, mate. Like
Yeah,
I have a
not at
mate
all.
as well. A lot of my friends are actually running their own businesses now. Like, but I have a mate now who's very successful, like selling cars, right? And he was a massive party boy, right, when he was in college, and then even afterwards when he was working for like Hertz and Barani and stuff like that, and he was selling cars, he was still going out drinking, and then he kind of started to stop doing that as he got more serious, and then when he opened up his own place, he's never out anymore. But he never does anything anymore because he's got his own fucking shit he needs to do. And I was the same. I knew when I was growing and building this business, I needed to be very dialed in. And I've said multiple times before, like, mate, even coaching wise, right? Everyone probably thought I was over in Manchester as a successful coach and whatever. I was stuck at 30 clients and I was eating shit, living month to month, spending every single penny I had investing back into bodybuilding, supplements, health subs, blood work, drugs. Every fucking penny I had, I would be lucky if I could save £200 every other month, right?
Mm.
The whole time I was in Manchester, and I got to Rotherham and I was broke. 2 years ago, I was completely broke, and like I was still just tipping away, doing what I needed to do, not drinking, working every single day, trying to post content, trying to figure it out, trying to deliver good results to my clients, wondering like, fuck me, is this ever going to pay off? And now the last year, mate, or last 18 months has just gone from here to just can't even see it on the screen. I was just like this for ages. I was just like, And that's like a huge part of my journey. That's what I've been trying to get across in a lot of my content recently as well, to young people and other people that I'm trying to inspire and trying to watch. It's like, you have to give it everything and expect nothing back for years, right? And I'm saying that so passionately because like people don't fucking understand. You literally have to chew glass and eat shit for years with no expectations, no result, loads of self-doubt, loads of, is this going to pay off, whatever. And you'll see other people around you doing better than you, and you won't be able to understand why are they doing better than me. They don't have a good physique. They don't have as good knowledge. You know, they're not posting content every single day like me. It doesn't matter. Stay in your lane. Just do what you need to do. Just be fucking relentless. And eventually it'll keep going. And you know what, right? Again, this has actually helped me massively, as silly as it is. And I always repeat it. It's something Hormozy said, right? You either quit or you stay going long enough to win. So for me, I was like, right, that's it. Quitting isn't an option. I'm just going to keep going because I know I can work hard and I know I can outwork everyone else. And I'm just going to keep going and going and going and going and going. And eventually it's going to turn off. I don't have a plan B. What, am I going to go back to being an accountant? Fuck that shit. What else am I going to do? What's the alternative? I'm going to go back to drinking and taking drugs? Fuck that. I'm just going to keep going and going and going and going, you know? And you just have to be relentless. You really, really do.
Yeah, it's like waiting for that inflection point of when, you know, all of the hard work does pay off. Because yeah, like I think like one of the biggest things with like between bodybuilding and business that makes people become successful is like the people who will stay in the game for long enough. Because like, you know, I think you're right in like reiterating your point in regards to like, you know, people having to chew glass until like, you know, they are actually going to get to a position where you're going to make it, because so much of everything we're delivered in today's like kind of society is like, you can have it now. Like even like something as
even
like,
all the business mentory stuff and the 10K month here and the this, that, there and whatever.
Sure, something I think about, man, is like AI, right? Like back in the day, you used to have like maybe read a book, you know, do a bit of research of yourself, like, you know, go through a couple of different sources, you know, maybe actually use your brain, critically think. Whereas now people want an answer, they ask ChatGPT. They want to know anything, they just get AI to do it. Like, well, yeah, for sure, AI has utility. It's like,
man,
we're
do you know
outsourcing our brain.
That's why it's so easy to win. And that's actually why my content has been doing better than ever. Because guess what? I never used fucking ChatGPT once for my fucking content. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like the big shift that I actually made in my content that's literally tripled my Instagram in the last 18 months has just been, I started backing myself and I started speaking with authority. Like all this knowledge, all this experience, all this everything that I have, I finally started to go, you know what? Maybe I can talk about tips to grow arms, because whilst my arms aren't the best, well, I've fucking blown them up 1/2 inch in the last 6 months, so I must know what I'm talking about. You know, I was afraid and I was holding back for ages to kind of make content and post content because I thought I wasn't at the level to be saying what I was saying. But then eventually it's like when I started prep last year and I knew I was starting in a good position and I knew I'd made good progress, I was like, right, this is it. I'm going to just fucking hammer it now. And then as that prep went on, that 2025 prep, excuse me. And I started to see how much progress I'd actually made. And I actually started to look really good and people started to notice me. That gave me confidence to like speak with more authority. And here's the thing, if you're a young guy and you're watching this, right? That was after 10 years of training and 5 years of bodybuilding competitively. So like, yes, people listen to me and my content done well, but I had spent years not only building up knowledge through learning and clients and everything else like that, but also building my physique so that people would take me fucking seriously, you know? And there's a lot of people now and they're posting the content and they don't have the physique or whatever. It's just like, you know, but document, don't create. It's like a lot of people have been, even when I put up my YouTube video, I had a couple of comments on it being like, oh, I've been following you since like the last 3 years. I've followed this journey over the last 2 years. It's incredible for you to see you be like, you know, achieving your goals. But it's like, I've documented everything for the last 3 years. The 3 years before that, I didn't. Fuck me, I wish I had. Because people would really see where I come from then. I actually started my YouTube channel when I quit my fucking job. That's when I did. I quit my job, I bought a camera, and I started that YouTube channel all in the same week. I went to Ultraflex to train during COVID. It was just like, boom. I was like, right, I'm going all in, you know? And yeah, I documented a little bit. But it's funny if people go back and they watch like my first training session with Kuba and Meg, and I'm like 94 kilos. They'll see how far I've come, like, and people can do that. And then that gives me even more credibility and that helps my business. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like people have been following the journey. Like a lot of people came onto my YouTube channel and they followed and they watched my prep last year, and then they watched my off season, and now they watch me now, and now they want me to coach them because they've seen my journey. They've seen me speaking about my clients in my YouTube videos. They've seen, me walk the walk and everything else like that, and then they buy into you. You know. So yeah, it just takes time, man. It just takes so much time. People don't realize everything takes time, and you just need to be willing to just not quit. And most importantly, you just got to be passionate about it. Because let's be real, the people who quit, they never wanted it in the first place. And we know a lot of people. We know a lot of, we got friends, mutual friends, people we know from Ireland as well who stopped coaching too, stopped bodybuilding as well. Why? They just didn't love it enough, man. They just didn't love coaching enough. They didn't love bodybuilding enough. Shit got tough. And they decided, right, I'm going to do something else. I can't stick it out. You know? And I feel like even a lot of people were doing better than me at that time when they started giving up. I was doing worse. I moved to Rotherham, bro. I had 15 clients. I was fucked. I was like, how am I going to survive? You know? And I was just like, nah, I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, I think one thing you mentioned was like, what was the alternative option? Like, where you're going to go back to that way of living? And man, when I'm having a tough time with business too, I always just think about that. Like, I simply cannot ever imagine myself working in an office, going dressing up in a fucking suit and tie, and working in some bullshit role for somebody else. Like, this is just what I'm gonna do. And like, whether I have to fucking like crawl through grass or crawl through glass, not grass,
Yeah,
or whatever it may be, to actually make it work, like I will do it. And it's something that I'm trying to do more within my content. It's actually like it kind of being inspired from like watching yours. Is like I think anybody who watches yours will just know that you're just being completely yourself. Like, you're being just very, very authentic.
100%.
And I think like now more than ever, that's going to be the differentiator between coaches who do well, people who are followed, people who have influence, because it's becoming harder and harder to tell like what's real and what's not, and like who's putting on persona and who's not. And things like long form content, you just can't really kind of fake that,
100%, man. Like, last couple of months, I've been involved in a little bit of controversy online and things of that nature, right? And like, I was willing to risk people thinking whatever the fuck they wanted to think about me, so that I could just say what I thought and what my opinion was, and I just stand by it. And again, like I mentioned way earlier in the podcast, that it's nearly harder for me to not bodybuild and just do what I need to do than it is to do it. It's harder for me to be inauthentic and disingenuous than it is for me to be myself. A lot of people, they're a chameleon, they're pandering to those around them, trying to please everyone, even in their content, or even when they're trying to attract clients, they're not saying the right things. And I was that guy for a while as well, thinking I needed to say a certain thing to attract a certain client or whatever. But it's just like, people can tell when you're being fucking real, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, people can tell when you're just you, and people will respect you for you. And if somebody doesn't like me, Shane, I don't give a flying fuck. I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. I've always said that, right? So like, certain people can hate me all they like, right? But for every person who hates you, there's going to be someone who loves you or even fucking looks up to you just as much. And they're the people you want to mesh with. I mean, you've got Republicans, you've got Democrats, you've got this, you've got that. Do you know what I mean? It's just natural. Like, you're never going to fucking please everyone, but people get caught in that trap of trying to please everyone. And that's advice I could give to people as well. Everyone's a ChatGPT robot these days. Everyone's not being themselves. Everyone's afraid what other people are going to think about them. Be authentically you, because like that energy, like you'll attract people that way. People know you're being real. I get those comments and those messages all the time. People saying, "Oh, like you're the realist" and all this other sort of shit. And I'm like, am I? It's like, I'm just fucking, and people love like just the little small clips of like myself and Chloe in the car just bouncing off each other, just chatting and waffling shit. And like, I don't ever think about like, can I be posting that? Or is this a bit weird to be putting in the vlog? Or is this a bit non-fitnessy related? I just record my life and I just post it. Like, everything I do, everything behind the scenes, the way we act, the way we talk to each other, the jokes that we have, I just post everything. And I've actually got a couple of comments on my YouTube before of people like giving out to me for like snapping on Chloe for not spotting me on the leg press correctly, or for passing this comment, or for saying something or whatever. But I'm like, but bro, it's like, but I'm showing you real life. Right? There's a lot of people out there that fucking, they get a little bit snappy with their girlfriend every now and again, but it's like, they're probably hiding that on social media. They're not posting that. It's just like, I post it because it's real, right? You're saying you've never snapped your girlfriend? You're saying you've never, been a little bit moody when you're on prep? It's like, okay, I can edit that out of the video, but am I just being a fraud then? It's like, simple things like that. It's like, I'm going to leave it in because this is real life. Same way when I had a chat with a certain somebody in the gym, right? That was real life, but they wanted it all for social media and to spin the narrative and whatever. So I have no interest in that bollocks.
Yeah. It's those little things that kind of make somebody relatable online, especially, look, bodybuilders online, we're a dime a dozen, right? Like we all train, we all fucking eat the same way.
Mate,
like really,
bodybuilders are boring as fuck online as well.
But like the
boring
thing that makes people different is personalities. Like what, like obviously, Emma's coach Christian, like he's legend, but he's so unique relative to like maybe some other kind of top bodybuilding coaches in the UK. Like you wouldn't, if you're around him in person, you wouldn't think like, oh, he's like one of the top coaches in the UK, but he is. But it's because he's so like, he knows who he is, says what he wants, and he's just him. And I think that's why he's so successful as well, because people kind of see how relaxed he is with himself.
100%.
Also, one thing as well, like I just want to touch on before we finish up, is you were mentioning how it's taken you a long time to get the confidence to kind of show this side of your personality online. I think it's something that a lot of younger people who are getting into the social media game or even the coaching game are probably, they just have to go through the time to get there. Is you can have all the knowledge in the world, but you kind of need experience to back it. And like, obviously it takes time to develop his physique. And while you could have all the ins and outs of training knowledge like accumulated without the physique to back it up, it's still gonna take a while for that information to stick with anybody. Like as you said, right? Like you giving out training tips and arms, right? You may not have like Nick Walker size arms, but you have bigger arms than the majority of the population, but if you have some 18-year-old posting about like, okay, you should only be doing 2 sets of biceps per week because this study said this, and then they have 13-inch arms, it's like, it's not going to land the same. So
I've said this before, mate. It's like, if you're a young guy and you want to post that content, all right, what you need to do is, you need to spend 6 and 8 months growing. You need to go, here's how I've grown my arms over the last couple of months. And then you need to show the fucking receipts. Okay? Like, you shouldn't, I don't want to discourage younger people from posting content, right? But it's like, I think a lot of younger people, they think they're going to get into the game, they're going to be a successful online coach, they're going to pick up clients. Look how fucking difficult it was for me. And I got into it right at the right time when it was the golden era. And I got into it when I already had a really good physique. I'd competed, I'd done photo shoots, I had tons of credibility, and it was still extremely difficult for me. So you're 18 years old, you're out of school, you've never had any real life experience, right? You've never worked in normal jobs, you don't know how to coach people in normal jobs. You've never worked shifts, you don't know how to handle shift workers. You've never lived a normal life, went out drinking, whatever, so you don't know what that's like. You get me? Not only do people have, you might have great training knowledge because you did fucking prescript, right, or whatever, but you have no real world experience. That's my issue with like young coaches. Like, bro, by the time I started coaching, how many jobs I had? 15 different jobs that I worked. Do you know what I mean? Like, I worked so many different things. Like, worked fucking fast food, worked night shifts, worked removing furniture, painting, fucking retail. Like, I've done so many different things, and I could understand. And I'd lived a normal life where I'd gone out drinking, and I had social commitments and everything else like that. And like, young guys are getting into bodybuilding too early, and they're 16, 17. They start coaching, and then they think they're going to be the next Jack Eagles from a coaching and a physique perspective, and that's not going to happen. So people need a fucking reality check these days. And I think people need to just get a normal job, get a good job that pays well, do a fucking trade these days because there's not enough people around, work your fucking bollocks off, build your physique, earn good money, have some security, post your content on the side, show your results, coach a couple of clients for free, build things up, and expect that if you want to be a fucking full-time online coach, guess what, motherfucker? It's probably going to take you 4 or 5 years. So do something else in the meantime. I became a full online coach after 4 years of university, 3 years of accountancy exams, and working for 3.5 years as an accountant. I did both jobs at the same time for 8 months. I had no life. I worked 9 to 5, 9 to 7 or 8 most nights because I was in fucking ledger department, right? GL role. And then I'd work Saturday and Sunday doing check-ins and setups. I did nothing. I'd be lucky if I met the lads for breakfast for 1 hour at the weekend. That was my social life for 8 months. People just, they don't see that, So
yeah, I guess it's the expectation of when you see maybe follow some business coaches and they're sharing it, what their clients are making on a monthly basis or whatever like that, or even like, people just like looking like yourself and myself and saying, oh, they seem to have a grand life, they live where they want, they have
Yeah,
a
they
nice
think that,
routine.
oh, it's
Yeah,
easy, it's easy for them. That looks like a grand life, etc. I'm going to get off the phone to you now. I've got 5 inquiries to respond to. I've got a prep clients that I still have to check in because, they're on prep. I've got loads of stuff to do. I've just content I need to schedule, I'm going to
yeah,
be sitting at this desk now for the next 3 hours. I'm on holidays, right?
yeah,
I text all my clients saying I'm on holidays, reduce the messages. It doesn't matter. I still have other things I need to do. I still have content to do. I still have inquiries to respond to, and I will not be able to leave this desk and enjoy myself and go to the beach until I know all that shit is done because I can't switch off. It's 24/7. You're working all the time. Even when you're not working, you're working, Shane. Right?
yeah, yeah,
Even when you have downtime, I'll be down at the beach. I'll be sitting down there, and I'll finally have a bit of headspace. All my messages be answered. I'll be sitting there and I'll be going, that'd be a good Instagram post, and I'll fucking write down on my notes. Like,
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So
It's nearly impossible to switch off. Yeah, sure. Even we went to Dubai before Christmas for like what was meant to be a whole week of holiday, and I still have my work phone with me, and it's like doing like message replies in the morning. It's like it feels weird not to do something with that portion of the day.
Do you know what, mate? Right? I actually enjoy waking up and doing at least 4 or 5 hours work every single day. I feel like it's part of my day. It's part of my routine. I obviously love what I do. So
Mm.
I have to wake up in the morning for my head and I have to feel like I've been productive and I've done something. So every single day, I wake up and I go straight to the laptop and I do some work. And like how that will look now when I'm on holidays is going to be a little bit different than how it would look, when I'm literally at the desk 10, 12 hours straight on a fucking Monday rest day, But but yeah, I feel like I have to do it, and I do enjoy doing that, and especially for me right now, like I have a lot of momentum, so I need to strike while the iron is hot and make sure the content stays going out and the inquiries stay coming through, and I'm just capitalizing on my current position.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, like obviously, look, you work hard to get into that position, so you may as well continue the momentum the way it's going. Have you ever I guess like we're gonna finish up the podcast in a few minutes here, but I'm curious, like in regards to scaling your business, have you ever kind of considered like looking to expand the team? You were
I'm
working with
starting to.
Olin, weren't you, for a while?
I
Olin
was
Brother.
working with Owen for a while, yeah. Like I am probably looking to do that now as I head into the future. So this is another thing about like eh, where I was at earlier in the year. Like businesses has really grown for me there this year, and especially turning 30. You kind of want to set yourself up for the future. I've got a lot of longer term goals now in the next 5 years. I want to open up a gym. And when I open up that gym, it's going to be fucking done right.
Good
So I
one.
know it's going to be a huge investment. It's going to be a huge investment. So, I'm starting to look ahead at the future. Really want to make sure I can earn and provide for my future family and do all the things I need to do. Like I want to work my bollocks off in the next 10 years. So I basically don't have to work again in my life. And I've got everything set up and everything is passive, right? It's the goal. So I know like with my own capacity, work wise, checking wise, I'll probably be able to push up a little bit more. Yes. But then from there, I am going to probably go down the route of trying to scale and build a team similar to what Emma's done. She's absolutely crushing it
Yeah.
because for
Yeah.
me, what are the highest leverage tasks that I can do? It's personal brand stuff. It's the content. It's, coming on podcasts like this and getting more exposure for myself. So if I have fucking, if I grow a massive, massive, massive team and I push up to fucking 100, 120 clients and I'm just doing check-ins 6, 7 days a week, 24/7, I'm not going to have time to work on the business. I'm just going to be working in the business,
Yeah.
So
Sure.
there will be a trade-off for me eventually with a certain level of client numbers that I will be able to handle quite well, that I'll really enjoy working with, that I'll still be able to provide an excellent service with, but I'll still be able to post my 3 videos a week. I'll still be able to do my podcast and I'll still be able to do all that other sort of stuff. And I'm going to have to try and start handing off some other work to other people because I do fucking everything myself. But like,
Yeah.
the podcast, you get off this podcast now. If to edit it, if to upload it, I do all the shorts as well, or all the reels for the podcast. I pull them, I put them onto YouTube Shorts, I put them onto Instagram. I send them to the boys so that they can post them. Haven't done that in a while though. Sorry lads. But yeah, like I do all that shit myself. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just tedious.
This is the stuff that people who are looking to get into coaching need to hear about. Is like all of this stuff, all of the tasks that you will just never get on top of. Like every single day, I'm like, I need to get this done. Like the entirety of last week, I'm like, right, I need to put aside 30 minutes at least to do a bit of DJing. Like I have my decks right here, right? Has them out of the case, I've been settled there since Monday. I haven't done any DJing yet this week because there's always been something that I've
Yeah.
been to do before I have like my 30 minutes of chill time in the evening time. So yeah, there's just never ending. Once content, podcast, YouTube come into the mix, you're never going to be not on your laptop.
But it's necessary. It needs to be done. Like,
Yeah.
and I won't lie. Even since we've started the podcast, and like I was the one pushing the podcast, I was the one wanting to get it on. Like, I've got us all business. I've got us all signups. Like the boys have got signups directly off the podcast as well. You know, because of the content that I've been posting for them. So it's been beneficial for us all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
people watch the podcast, people listen to it, people understand people watch the podcast, right? And Mike is super chilled out, super relaxed, super whatever, right? And you know, I'm fucking uptight and fucking boom, 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 boom. And there'd be two people watching that podcast, and someone will go, Mike really resonates with me. I think he'd be a good coach. There'd be another person going, I really like Darragh's style. I think he'd be a good coach. Do you know what I mean? So like, we're three different personalities, right? People can decide who they think would want to have them be coached better. And that's happened to us. Like we've got inquiries from the same people, and someone has gone to whatever coach for whatever reason, and it's just beneficial for us all. But that's because we've been posting the videos every single week, you know? And there's a lot of people who I'm sure just watch my podcast and don't watch my YouTube videos. And there's a lot of people who watch my YouTube videos probably don't watch the podcast. That's okay. Cool. Right? And it's like, if you think you're posting
enough content to go around.
if you think you're posting enough, post more. That was another Hormozy thing that I got. Quantity. Maybe not right now because I'm on holiday. But for majority prep, like I'm posting 3 times a day. You know what I mean? Just getting out there. Exposure. More people seeing you. Boom, 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 boom. You know? So.
Final question I have for you is, like, obviously with the volume of content you put out, do you ever find, because obviously our routines and lifestyle can be quite boring, how do you find a way to keep it interesting for viewers? This is a selfish question now.
I used to be very hard on myself. Like I'd record a vlog and go, fuck, no one's going to want to watch that. Or I'd record something and go, oh, that's a little bit shit. Or maybe I didn't structure that the best. Or I'd overanalyze the content. Even a lot of the podcast shorts, I'm like, oh, is that even really relevant? That's kind of a little bit shit. Is that even like, we're just on about like how often we get a fade? Like that's, nobody fucking wants to watch that. That's a load of bollocks. Doesn't matter. Post it anyway. Because most of the time, mate, like people will just scroll and they just like see it, like it. Half the people won't even see it. Half the people won't even watch it. But the people who do watch it, like someone might scroll down and I'd be on a haircut and I go, oh, I listen to this. And it's like the people who do watch it, who do engage with it, who do like with it. It's like you're appealing to them in a very certain type of way. You know what I mean? So like with the Instagram content, it's just like post, because something is going to land with someone. People are on their phones different times of the day, etc. Post as much variety in the content as you can. Like I've got the podcast reels, I've got my own reels in the gym, I've got some little quick sit down and talk reels I do sometimes. I post all my training footage. Whatever. My physique updates. I just try and post as much variety as I can. I try and just post as much as fucking possible. And one thing I stopped doing as well is I have like a good thing to post and I'd be like, oh, I'll post that like Friday at 6 p.m. or I'll do this or that. Now I just post as much as possible. Or a videographer sends me over photos and I go, oh, I'll save those and I'll post them at a later stage. They never get fucking posted. You get something, right? And you're like, I put up a post like 3 hours ago. Maybe I'll save this tomorrow. Just if you have something good, post it. Doesn't matter what time of the day it is. Doesn't matter whatever. If it's good, if a thought comes into your mind and you think that'd be a good Instagram post, take out your phone, record it, just post it. Just post. In terms of trying to keep it interesting, I mean, yeah, fuck, that can be a tricky one. I feel like I've been doing it so long at this stage now that I kind of have my rough, like, structured how a video looks. It's funny, Shane, because you watch my videos, right? My normal videos, vlogs during the week, they're all kind of the same. I record at the same times during the day. They have the same structure, and I don't think people pick up on that as much. But it's because between my work blocks and my meals and when I actually can record, I'm recording the same things at the same times every single time, every single day for the most part. So keeping it interesting, mate. It's all just personality.
Yeah,
it's all just personality. Keeping it interesting. You watch any other bodybuilder's full day of eating, right? Meal 1, meal 2, meal 3. These are my digestive enzymes. Meal 4. Right? That's all it is. Right? You watch my full days of eating. There'll be a 30-minute segment at the end of it of me and Chloe talking about how shit last season's episode of the fucking Sopranos was, or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And then something funny will just end up popping out of our heads. And people just like to watch that because it's just real life normal shit and it's relatable. And then the comments that I get in my YouTube videos are like, oh, you should watch this. Oh, I completely agree with you on that. It's a full day of eating, but people aren't watching it because of the full day of eating it. They're watching it because of the normal shit that everyone can appeal to, you know? So that's the kind of advice I'd say. A lot of time people have an idea, right? I'm recording a full day of eating today. So it needs to be all about the food and all about the this and all about the that. Something crosses your mind. If you've seen something on social media that day that like you don't agree with, speak about it in your full day of eating, you know?
Yeah.
Just talk, just speak, just get your minds, you know, don't think like people think I'm recording a training day today. So it has to be all about the training. Recording a full day of eating, so it has to be about a full day of eating. Like they're overthinking the video too much rather than just recording. Document, don't create, as Gary Vee says. So I agree with that a lot. It's like, right, I'm going to create a full day of eating. Then you're just thinking full day of eating, full day of eating. If I'm documenting the full day of eating, then I'm just showing my food as I'm going about my day, doing what I normally do and say what I'm normally saying. You get me? So
Yeah. No,
as you can see, I've thrown out inspiration from a lot of other people there. So
yeah, no, that's a great point, because it's definitely something I get in my head with. I'm like, okay, I'm recording. Yeah, like the example there, train video. It's like, okay, well, I'm training legs today, so I need to make sure that every time I'm talking to the camera, I'm giving some type of like action point of why I'm doing this exercise. Like, you know, what the point of having it in this place of the exercise order is, you know. And while they can be useful, it's probably not the thing that's going to build a connection with the viewer, you know, and kind of keep them coming back to the videos. So yeah, look, obviously, man, you're killing it at the moment with both Instagram and YouTube. So, and obviously coaching too. So wish you all the success in the future years. I'm sure that we'll be able to see you up on a pro stage maybe the next 2-3 years.
All I'll say is the best is yet to come. Yet to come.
Anyway, I will leave all your stuff in the show notes. But like, where would be the best place for people to get in contact with you to go and work with you for coaching?
So at Darragh_IFBB Pro on Instagram and Darragh Namara on YouTube. So there's links in my bio in Instagram and there's links in the description on YouTube as well. If you want to fill out my inquiry form, I suppose I better say it while I'm on the podcast here now. My prices will be going up at the end of this month. You know, I won 2 pro cards, so I'm definitely going to be upping the prices a little bit and appealing to a higher standard of clientele, let's say, especially where my numbers are at right now. Because if I push up from here, another 10-15 clients, I'm probably going to have to start doing check-ins 6 days a week. So yeah, that's the story there. So, and if you just want to follow me on socials, if you don't follow me already, guys, that's going to be the best place. Probably the YouTube, to be honest, because Instagram, I just repurpose most of my YouTube content on Instagram. I hate Instagram. Hate it. Yeah. And it's another thing as well for the viewers who watched up until this point, right? People think, oh, he's so good at content. He posts so much, whatever. I fucking hate posting Instagram content. I despise it. Okay. So find what you enjoy and you like. I love YouTube. I would rather, right, record, edit and upload a 40-minute YouTube vlog than do one little edit reel thing on Instagram. Genuinely.
Yeah.
So find what you're good at, double down on that. Okay. I knew YouTube was the one that I needed to focus on. So I would pay a videographer to come into the gym and record me, and he'll chop up those reels and he'll post them on Instagram. I don't pay for the YouTube video. I can do YouTube videos myself. I pay for the reels to be pulled from the YouTube video. That's essentially what I'm doing. So I'm just smart with what I'm doing and how I repurpose things. And then those go on to YouTube Shorts. They bring a different audience to my channel, etc., etc. Yeah. So
yeah, the repurposing is absolutely key. Sure, there'll be a couple of reels coming out from this podcast. Don't you worry.
Lovely stuff. Just clap me in them, Shane. Like I said, post. So if you want to post them, don't even say anything to me, bro. Just clap me. I'll accept. There we go. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Thanks very much for coming on, Darragh. All of you at home who have listened, if you have enjoyed the podcast, make sure to give it a rating on the podcast platform you're listening on. Go over, give Darragh a follow, YouTube, Instagram, all that kind of crack. And look, we will catch you in the next one.